everybody, and welcome to the Football Philosophy channel. And tomorrow night it's Fulham away. We're at the cottage tomorrow evening. Another massive 3 points that we've got to get the 3 points. As much as it was a good result at Anfield, really you've got to, look, I know we could have nicked it, but you've got to say, I think most people before the game would have been quite happy to say that we'd take the draw. But having got that draw now, it's so tight at the top. Other teams are creeping up around us. Notably, Spurs and City have won their games over the last few days. City are now in a situation where they play Aston Villa before we kick off tomorrow night. So before we kick off tomorrow night, we could slip into second place behind City. And obviously we've spent a few weeks looking up at Liverpool, and as I say, by tomorrow evening we could be behind City. So we would need to win to go back to the top. City are playing Villa. Villa are having a great season, but I think they've got quite a few players missing tomorrow night. I am expecting City to win that game. I always say you don't know, but I am expecting a win for Man City, which would mean we'd be in second as we kick off our game. Obviously, tough game against Liverpool on Sunday, and then we've got Liverpool again this weekend. FA Cup, it may be the cup, but Ole's desperate to win a cup. He's going to want to field a strong side, and he knows he's going to have a tough game. So would he make changes? He was asked about the fitness of the squad. He's done his press conference this afternoon or this lunchtime. He said everybody's fit apart from Phil Jones and Brandon Williams. He's got a full squad to choose from. He was asked if he will be resting people, and he basically said that there'll be minimal changes, I think was the word that he used, or there'll be very few changes. So I'm expecting that he will make 2 or 3 changes, but I can't see too many more changes. Fulham, I've watched a few Fulham games recently. They're in good form, Fulham. They've got a great team shape, team spirit. They work hard for each other. They were unbeaten in 6 until getting beat by Chelsea 1-0 the other day. But the left back, who I'm very impressed with, by the way, Anthony Robinson, he got sent off in the first half of that game, and so he played for over 45 minutes against Chelsea with 10 men, and still only got beat 1-0 and made a game of it. And it took Chelsea till around about 75-80 minutes to score. So they're well organised. It's not going to be an easy game, despite them being in the bottom 3. They've also drawn recently at Spurs. They also took points off Liverpool at the cottage. So that's the type of game that we're going to have. They're going to be well organised. They're going to have a good team shape about them, and they're going to be proper difficult to break down. It's not going to be an easy game. Ole was asked in the press conference two questions from the press conference that I found, that one of them a little bit funny really, and one of them interesting. He was asked about our difficulty of beating the other top teams. The question was about the other top teams, and normally when you think about the other top teams, obviously you think about the big 6, which would include Arsenal. And all his answer was, I don't think he meant it as he didn't mean it as a joke. It wasn't meant to be funny. I don't think it was tongue-in-cheek either. It was just an honest answer. He says we haven't. He says, even though we've not been beating the teams around us, we haven't been losing to them. We've only lost to Spurs from the teams around us. And straight away I thought, well, we lost to Arsenal. And obviously he hasn't mentioned that the defeat to Arsenal, because you normally expect Arsenal to be around us, but they're not at the moment, are they? So we have lost to 2 of the big teams, but Ollie's put it over that we've only lost to 1 of the teams that's around us, which is obviously when we got battered by Spurs earlier in the season. So he doesn't count Arsenal as one of the teams that are around us. They didn't even get warrant a mention. That was one question. Another journalist asked him about Bruno's form. I thought this was very interesting. He said, basically said, how do you feel about Bruno's form at the minute? And Ole defended Bruno, as he's going to, obviously. He said, well, he's won the Player of the Month award. He's been voted the Player of the Month. Defended him to the hilt. But what I found interesting is he actually said there's nothing wrong with Bruno's form. He's perfectly fine. And at weekend he had this free kick that was a couple of inches wide, and he tried a couple of through balls that didn't quite come off. And another day he might have come off, and he was just out a little bit. So he was actually saying that he's playing perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with Bruno's form. But what I found interesting is the journalist. It's almost as if he didn't believe him, really, because his follow-up question was, could it be that he's done so well for so long that everybody's disappointed now that it isn't going so well? So he's basically ignored all his answer and not gone with the with the idea that there isn't anything wrong with Bruno's form. So despite Ole arguing that it's fine, his form, the journalist wasn't convinced. With his, you could tell that by his follow-up answer. Could it be that he's done so well that everyone expects him to keep doing well? He said. But the way Ole did defend him, he was also asked if the journalist asked him if he was playing like this because he's played so many games and that he's tired. And Ole said he's just not having it at all. He said he's not tired. There's nothing wrong. There's no problem. He's playing well and he's not tired. And if I was to ask him if he was tired, he would say no. And he was so vehement in his defence of him. I was thinking that Bruno might get a rest tomorrow night. Maybe Van der Beek might have got a game in that position, or even Pogba could play at number 10. Juan Mata can play at number 10. We've got numerous options. But the way Ole was speaking, it's made me think for certain that Bruno will be playing tomorrow night. So as I do, I'm going to have a stab at what I think the starting lineup will be tomorrow night. I think David De Gea will play in goal. I think Wan-Bissaka will play at right back. I think Bailey will play at centre back. I think Lindelof will get rested again in order to make sure that he's fit for the Liverpool game. And I think they worry about Lindelof's back problem these days. And as much as this is a league game and the Liverpool game's a cup tie, obviously the Liverpool game's another desperate game that he wants to win, and I think he's going to want to keep it tight at the back again like he did at Anfield. So I'm going to have a guess that tomorrow night Lindelof will be rested for the weekend. So I think it'll be De Gea in goal. I think the back four will be Wan-Bissaka, Bailey, Maguire and Shaw. That's one change, by the way, and the manager did say there'd be only a few changes, or not many changes. I think McTominay and Fred will be left out again to play at the weekend, and I think he'll go back to Matic and Pogba as the two central players. That's what I think he'll do. I think Bruno will play at number 10. Up front, I think Cavani will play at number 9. I think Anthony Martial's going to get a rest. If he does do that, by the way, I'll be devastated. I would love Anthony Martial to play on the left, and I think Cavani would get better service if Martial played on the left. But I actually think he's going to get a rest this tomorrow evening. I think Rashford will switch back to the left, and Mason Greenwood keeps getting games off the bench. He keeps coming off the bench quite often recently, so I think he's desperate to sort of give him another look in. I fancy Mason Greenwood's going to start on the right hand side. I wouldn't be picking Greenwood and Rashford as my wide players. This is what I think the manager is going to do. So to recap, I'm guessing that his starting lineup will be De Gea in goal. I think it'll be Wan-Bissaka, Bailey, Maguire and Shaw. I think it'll be Matic and Pogba, Bruno at number 10, and I think it'll be Greenwood, Cavani and Rashford. And he said there'll be minimal changes in the team that I've mentioned, although there's one or two positional changes. I think there's 4 fresh faces in there. I think there's Bailey, Matic, Greenwood and Cavani. Yeah, I'm having a guess that those 4 players will come into the team. So whatever team he goes with, like I say, absolutely desperate for us to get the points tomorrow. Like I say, I think we'll be behind City by the time the game kicks off. The longer we can stay at the top, the better. So desperate for the 3 points. So I hope whatever team he picks, that it works for us tomorrow evening. I hope you've enjoyed that little show. I'll be back later with the Player in Focus show. Luke Shaw won the poll, hands down, by the way. So Luke Shaw is the player in focus. So I'll be back later this evening with the player in focus show. That's that for now. Hope United win tomorrow. If you've enjoyed that little show, please tell all your friends. Please subscribe. If you didn't like it, don't tell anyone. Keep stum.